Welcome to the WLAQ Community Spotlight, where we highlight the wonderful organizations and people that make the Rome community a great place to call home. Here's today's host.
And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Elizabeth Davis here at the WLAQ Video Studios for another edition of WLAQ Community Spotlight. And we're going right back to the beginning. We got the person who was the very first guest on this program way back in October. Caroline Groce is here. She is the Community Outreach Coordinator for Hospitality House for Women Incorporated. And good afternoon, Caroline.
Good afternoon.
Hey,
thanks.
it's good to have you back here today.
Happy to be here. We have a lot of fun stuff going on at Hospitality House, so just thought I would spread the word.
Absolutely. And when you reached out to me, you had a specific purpose for wanting to be back on this program, and that is to talk about your event, Love Empowers.
Yes, we cannot be more excited for Love Empowers on April 27th at 7 p.m. We will be having a cocktail and hors d'oeuvre style event at La Scala's Lewis Loft on Broad Street. And it's going to be an event to raise support and awareness for Hospitality House's 46 years of work in the community, but specifically the 20 years that we've had in our now 27-bed facility. So our shelter needs some updates. It's 20 years old, right? So we are excited to raise some funds for that specifically as we make updates to create a more empowering space for the women we serve.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like it's going to be a fundraiser in addition to a fundraiser, because you're going to be having a lot of great stuff going on. So first of all, I got to ask, how are the ticket sales and how can folks get tickets?
Ticket sales are going great, but we have a lot of spots still available. So if you and your plus one or your friend group, whoever wants to come on out, you're all welcome. And your ticket is 100% a donation to Hospitality House. We had the Manis Family Foundation cover our costs for the event. So we're so grateful for that. But to get a ticket, you can go to givebutter.com/loveempowers. You can also find the information on our website, hospitalityhouseforwomen.org. But tickets are $50. And like I mentioned, 100% of those proceeds go right back to what we're doing at Hospitality House and all the updates we're making.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I do want to get an update on what's going on at the house these days.
Yes.
But a couple more questions regarding Love Empowers. First of all, talking about the tickets, can they be purchased on the day of the event, or do people have to buy them in advance?
We do hope to have a number by about a week out from the event. So we encourage you to buy tickets now. Just make those plans ahead of time so that we can have enough hors d'oeuvres and drinks for everyone who comes.
Yeah.
So your ticket will include a wonderful spread of La Scala's hors d'oeuvres as well as 2 drinks. And then we'll also have a cash bar set up. We'll have a live DJ, silent auction items, and just a great night of networking with a beautiful view of Rome. If you haven't been to the Lewis Loft before, it is a beautiful, beautiful space, and there's actually a rooftop deck as well. So It's a great just spring night out, you know?
Yeah, and I've been to the Lewis Loft, but it's been a little while, and I've never been out on that deck, so that sounds like quite a nice attraction.
Yes.
Great views of downtown Rome, great food, great music. Any chance people actually be getting out on the dance floor? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, so you totally can, because we'll have a DJ there, but also it is a chance to dress up. I think Rome loves a chance to dress up. So we're encouraging cocktail attire for the event. So come on out, dress to the nines. We'd love to see you there, but make sure you purchase your tickets on givebutter.com/loveempowers.
Yeah, doing it well in advance. And while you're at it, in addition to buying the tickets, they have the option to also throw in an additional donation.
That's right. And we've already had some ticket purchasers do that, which we're so grateful for, because like I said, this event is all going back to our work within the shelter to make updates and make it feel more like home. We have already had some generous donors add to their tickets, but also those who've had conversations with us to say, hey, we'd love to give toward this specific space to make it more beautiful. So we're just really grateful. We're trying to pull the shelter out of the 2000s into 2024. So we are just excited.
That's awesome. And one more question regarding the tickets, because there are some folks that they don't want to do things online. They just rather get in contact with somebody, talk
Yeah.
to somebody, purchase something in person, maybe at the thrift store? Is that an option?
Well, you can definitely email us, or if you chat with our thrift store team, you can give us a call. I'm happy to talk through that with anyone. So you can call me directly, 706-383-9174. If you'd like to talk to me about tickets or about a specific donation, you can also email me. You'll find my contact info on our website as well.
Awesome. And we mentioned the thrift store. That is another big fundraising arm for Hospitality House.
Yes.
We're here heading into spring. We're doing this on March 12th, which of course is 1 week from the first day of spring. I'm sure you guys have got some good spring finds at the thrift store.
Yes, spring items just came out last week. So we are excited to have spring in full swing at Hospitality House Thrift Store. But I have heard we are processing donations really quickly this time of year. And so we would love more donations as well. So if you are doing some spring cleaning and finding maybe some clothes that don't fit anymore that you need to give away, we would love for you to donate those. They just need to be gently used and recently cleaned, and you can bring them on over to us. And our wonderful volunteers and staff will sort through those and get them out on the floor so we can sell them and continue to raise funds for the work that we do. And I do want to mention too, if you haven't heard about Hospitality House before, we're a domestic violence agency here in Rome. We work as a shelter and outreach center to advocate, support, and empower domestic violence survivors and their families. So when you shop at our thrift store, when you come to Love Empowers, or even if you're just interested in making a small donation, anything helps us continue to do the work that we've been doing here in Rome for 46 years.
Yeah, awesome. So now let's talk a little bit more about that work. You guys, a lot of what you do is helping people out when they've been faced with the issue of domestic violence. But you're taking also a very preventative. You're kind of putting in place some preventative measures to hopefully end domestic violence by being proactive rather than reactive.
Right. Yeah. Our vision is to end the cycle of intimate partner violence here in Rome, and that's when we won't be needed anymore. Right. So part of my job is prevention education as the prevention and outreach coordinator. And so I get to partner with local schools and nonprofits who work with kids and teens and talk about healthy relationships. Yesterday afternoon, I was at YMCA's after school program at Restoration Rome and had a great time with the elementary schoolers and teen guys over there talking about healthy relationships and doing some basic nonviolence curriculum with elementary schoolers. And really any conversation that you can have with your kids or your teens about healthy relationships and ways to learn more about that. There are tons of resources out there, and our website has a great listing of those, but also just some general statistics, because teens are really just likely to experience intimate partner violence early on in their lives, especially with technology and all of those things that are coming out now that maybe didn't exist when you were a teen. And so it's great to be aware of the resources and to be aware that we're out there to help those who need it.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, prevention, that's ultimately what you hope to do, so it's not even an issue in the first place. But unfortunately, it is an issue. So let's talk about how many folks have been served over the years by Hospitality House. And in addition to shelter, what are some other services that you provide?
Yeah, so last year we served about 150 individuals in shelter, and that's women and children. But in terms of outreach, we served total shelter and outreach about 500 individuals here in Rome. And there is such a great need for us to be able to do even more. And so that's what we're working toward. We actually just added a wonderful new staff member, our Latinx coordinator, and her name is Angela. She's actually in studio with us today. Hi, Angela. Shout out. But she is going to be doing some great work with the Hispanic community here in Rome to reach out to them and make sure they're aware of our resources and the way that we can serve them. But yeah, we got to serve an incredible amount of people last year. And I think a huge success of last year was just getting more of the community involved in what we're doing, being more present in the community. And we're hoping to continue to expand that this year. So.
Yeah. And so we talk about the shelter that you provide to the women and the children.
Yes, ma'am.
And you also provide counseling services.
Right.
And just things to help people get their feet feet back on the ground.
Right. So I always like to call Hospitality House a shelter and outreach center because we don't just provide shelter. Now, shelter is something that a lot of domestic violence survivors need very readily as they're fleeing their abuser. But we also are able to provide counseling services, legal advocacy, one-on-one group or individual sessions with counselors, and financial support. So there are all sorts of resources that we provide to people who are not even in shelter with us, and counseling is one of those. So yeah, we're available for those who may not need anything but some diapers or a voucher to our thrift store. We're just always ready to help and excited to help. So.
Yeah. And, a lot of times when people think of the issue of domestic violence, they think of women as typically being the victim, but it happens to men too.
Exactly. And we're here for men as well. So 1 in 3 women are victims of intimate partner violence in their lifetime, and 1 in 9 men. And so though men are less likely to report that they're experiencing domestic violence, we are aware that that is a huge issue as well. So when men give us a call, we're able to provide all the services that I previously mentioned. We are not able to provide shelter in our actual shelter building, but we are able to pay for hotel stays or help them safety plan and figure out a way to stay safe in an unsafe situation. So we're here for everyone who's experiencing intimate partner violence, and we want to make sure the community knows that. So yeah, thanks for asking that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is important for folks to know that help is available if you need it. So
Yes.
if you don't mind sharing that, Helpline.
You can call our crisis line at 706-235-4673. And that's a 24/7 crisis line that one of our advocates will speak to you and help you process through what would be the best next step for you. So again, that's 706-235-4673.
Awesome. We're in the midst of another edition of WLAQ Community Spotlight. I guess you could say this is the March edition. Caroline Groce is my guest this segment. She is the outreach coordinator for Hospitality House for Women Incorporated. Our primary focus of today's interview is to promote the Love Empowers event set for April 27th. Any other thoughts you'd like to share with regard to that?
Yes. Well, if you are just now joining us, or if you need more information about Love Empowers, just feel free to visit Hospitality House's website, hospitalityhouseforwomen.org. And we have our Love Empowers info there. But please purchase tickets now. Don't wait. We would love to know who's going to be there, how many people are going to be there. And we want you to know that there are some incredible silent auction prizes.
Oh, very nice.
We have items from the Rome Symphony, the Rome Emperors, Kingston Downs, Newbies Vineyard, Blooming Oaks Photography, KH Design Studio. The options are endless. So we are just so excited to have a variety of silent auction prizes. So don't miss out on those either. They'll be at a table at the event. So we're excited.
Make sure you have your cash or your credit cards handy so you can bid on those items and
Definitely.
hopefully be the highest bidder.
Right. Yeah. We're
Yeah.
grateful for the community coming around us in that way.
Yeah, it really is a great supportive community. Any other thoughts you'd like to share with regard to Hospitality House?
Well, if you are just joining us again, we have a 24/7 crisis line. And if you call that crisis line and you or someone you know is a victim of intimate partner violence, we would love to help you and help you figure out what the best next steps are for you. So you can call 706-235-4673 to gain access to our services, to speak to a trained advocate. We would love to speak to you. And we just encourage everyone to stay safe always.
Yeah, absolutely. Caroline Groce, my guest this segment, community outreach coordinator for Hospitality House for Women Incorporated. And I guess that pretty much wraps up.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks, get your tickets to Love Empowers. April 27th is the date of that event. Going to be a lot of fun. And with that, we got to wrap up this month's edition of WLAQ Community Spotlight. I'm your host, Elizabeth Davis. You guys have a great afternoon.
This has been the WLAQ Community Spotlight. We thank you for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to the WLAQ Radio YouTube channel and follow WLAQ Rome on Facebook.